Good evening, this is Capital News for Friday, August 14, 2026. I'm Ivor Wharton, and here are the stories we're tracking this evening. CCJ President breaks silence, denies panel fixing and rejects influence allegations. And the Fire Chief defends handling of headquarters defects amid APNU criticism. We will return with the news.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2026 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. How to apply for registration? You must visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for your area of residence to apply for registration, name change, or correction. You must have the following source documents as might be relevant: original birth certificate or valid Guyana passport for new registration, original marriage certificate and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by marriage, original deed poll and original birth certificate in the case of a name change by deed poll, original naturalization certificate and original birth certificate or valid passport in the case of naturalization. This registration exercise will end on November 30, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Thanks for staying with us on Capital News. CCJ President breaks silence, denies panel fixing and rejects influence allegations. Here is that report. Caribbean Court of Justice President Winston Anderson has broken his silence on allegations raised by federal judges on the Regional Apex Court, addressing the controversy in a media release issued Friday. Anderson said recent press reports on the court's internal affairs have caused concern, anxiety, and profound sadness, both within the institution and across the region. He condemned the unauthorized disclosure and publication of confidential judicial correspondence, calling it damaging to trust in administrative justice and public confidence in the judiciary. The CCJ president addressed four main allegations. On consultation, he said he has regularly convened meetings with judges and established an advisory committee, and denied ever refusing to engage colleagues on matters affecting the court. On the judicial dress code controversy, Anderson confirmed he removed a colleague judge from the interlocutory panel in the De Almada versus Trinidad and Tobago matter after the judge declined to commit to the court's established attire practice, insisting the decision was unrelated to the judge's legal views and stressing the judge was later included in the full panel for the substantive hearing. On the most serious allegation that panels were manipulated to secure particular case outcomes, Anderson said this was wholly untrue, calling the claim irresponsible, intellectually dishonest, injudicious, and quite simply malevolent. He announced that going forward, every judge will be required to sit on every panel unless excused for a legitimate reason. On claims he sought to influence judgments, including in the case involving Guyanese businessmen Aswaddin and Nazar Mohammed against the Minister of Home Affairs, Anderson said all seven judges reached complete unanimity in that matter and denied suppressing any judicial views. Anderson also addressed his meetings with Guyana's president and opposition leader, a reference to concerns previously raised publicly by former opposition leader Aubrey Norton over the prolonged acting appointments of Guyana's Chancellor and Chief Justice. Anderson said his sole concern was constitutional protection of judicial independence, not any political preference, though he acknowledged in hindsight it may have been better to have limited himself to public commentary as his predecessors did. Justice Anderson ended his statement by highlighting the court's continued casework over the past year and pledged the CCJ would keep discharging its duties with independence, fairness, and integrity. Since the allegations surfaced, there have been calls for an independent investigation, alongside expressions of continued support for the regional judicial body from bar associations and other stakeholders. Fire Chief Defense handling of headquarters defects amid APNU criticism. The Guyana Fire Service says it has moved to address structural deficiencies at its Homestretch Avenue headquarters, following a viral Facebook claim that firefighters were forced to use buckets of water.
I wish to make it abundantly clear that from the moment we began occupying this structure, our headquarters at Homestretch Avenue, we have encountered several deficiencies and several issues that over time we had to be fixing in order to ensure that our staff have a good working environment. Such issues are, for example, leaking roof, cracking of the walls, cracking of the glass on the surface of the building, poor issues, and several moments we had to be looking at the fixtures in our lavatory washroom area, the plumbing work ever so often.
That was Acting Fire Chief Gregory Wickham. The building, he said, was constructed by Mohammed's Enterprise and that a retender process was carried out, and the contractor began work on August 6th to replace the washroom facilities.
That contract was won by a contractor, and as of the 6th of August 2026, that contractor has begun work, not fixing, but changing those facilities that we had in the washroom areas. Like I said, that is a work in progress.
He also pointed to broader improvements, including expanded personnel protective equipment, new fire tenders, and growth from roughly 7 or 8 fire stations to more than 20 nationwide. But the opposition APNU has questioned the timing of the fire chief's statement, as MP Sherrod Duncan pressed for accountability on the original construction contract.
We can go back to the awarding of the contract, who awarded the contract, what ministries they were attached to, what has become of those persons since that time. Don't let's stop just with the defects of this particular building, right? Because this seems to be a pattern with contractors, not just Mohammed Enterprise.
Member of Parliament Nima Flubes drew a comparison to firefighters' working conditions and the treatment of the MV Barima crew members now facing murder charges, urging fire service workers to protect themselves.
They have seen what has happened to those 3 workers from the MV Barima, the 3 individuals charged for murder, and they should take the necessary steps to protect themselves as workers in the environment that is unsafe.
Repair works at the fire service headquarters remain ongoing. More news after this break.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2026 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. It is the civic duty and legal responsibility of all Guyanese who meet the eligibility criteria to apply for registration. By so doing, you would be ensuring that you are issued a national identification card and are included in the official list of electors for future elections, provided you meet all eligibility criteria. This registration exercise will end on November 30, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-02779 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Play 4 is the latest addition to our suite of exciting games with drawings twice daily, Monday through Saturday. Select your bet type, inline, mix, backup, peers, first 3 or last 3. Choose your 4 numbers or quick pick. Match the winning numbers according to the bet type you selected and win the prize shown on the payout chart at your agent site, on our website, or in the daily newspapers. Play 4 twice daily. Remember, a ticket a day could make you rich today.
for staying with us on Capital News. City Council finalized its plans for Georgetown City Week 2026. The Georgetown Mayor and City Council has organized 4 days of activities in the capital to celebrate its people, community, and the spirit of togetherness. In a press statement, the council said Mayor Alfred Mentor met with members of the Social Development Committee on Thursday to advance preparations for Georgetown City Week 2026, set for August 21st to 24th. The program includes inter-constituency competitions, football, cricket, dominoes, a cocktail reception, and other activities aimed at fostering healthy competition, community engagement, and fellowship among residents. The council said it is finalizing the full schedule and is urging citizens to look forward to a memorable City Week celebrating Georgetown, its people, its communities, and what officials describe as a spirit of togetherness that makes the capital unique. APNU demands full disclosure of MV Burima records. The opposition APNU is calling on government to secure and publish all official records relating to the state-owned MV Burima, which capsized and sank on July 18th in what is being described as one of the gravest maritime disasters in Guyana's history. At a press conference on Friday, APNU said public reporting established that the vessel was decades old and that the initial passenger count had to be substantially revised, with many persons aboard reportedly not recorded on the manifest.
Those facts require the government to secure and publish the vessel's inspection, maintenance, loading, manifest, seaworthiness, and emergency response records. Instead, from the morning of the tragedy, serious questions arose about whether the government's priority was to establish and disclose the truth or to control the information reaching the Guyanese public.
That was Member of Parliament Nima Flubes. According to the party, the pattern began with statements from the Prime Minister on the morning of the tragedy, followed by restricted access for journalists to survivors and the subsequent arrest of surviving crew members and the goods superintendent, who now face murder charges.
We therefore have an extraordinary situation in which some of the people who may know the most about what happened aboard the MV Burima have been charged for murder and could be constrained in what they can tell the very commission established to find out what happened.
Member of Parliament Sherrod Duncan further alleged that the cargo and passenger numbers aboard the MV Burima far exceeded the vessel's related capacity.
And the cargo that was on board as well far exceed the capacity for this vessel. And for all of the commentary we have heard from the victims, from the survivors of this horrific disaster, is that in both cases, the government was in breach.
The party is calling for the Commission of Inquiry to be granted unrestricted access to the vessel's records, evidence, and witnesses, and for the probe to extend beyond crew members to administrative and political responsibility. More news after this break.
Of dreams, 30 years of wins, one big celebration. Daily Millions is turning the excitement all the way up for the Guyana Lottery Company Limited's 30th anniversary. For 30 years, we have been creating winners, sparking dreams, and rewarding lucky players across Guyana. From July 31 to August 31, 2026, buy $1,000 or more in Daily Millions tickets for a chance to win millions. More tickets mean more chances, more excitement, bigger wins. Check the press posters and social media for details. Must be 18 and over to play. So celebrate, play, and win with Daily Millions today. A ticket today could make you rich today.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2026, and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Persons eligible for registration must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for their area of residence to apply. Persons who are already registered could apply for a name change if they have changed their names since they were registered. Applied for corrections if there is incorrect information on their national ID cards. Persons who are desirous of conducting any of the above transactions must provide the relevant supporting documents. Persons who are already registered must collect their new ID cards if they have not yet done so. This registration exercise will end on November 30, 2026. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at a different address than the one you were registered at. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Olinda Pool reports that a sergeant has been held as the police force probes licensing office at Springlands Police Station.
A police sergeant has been placed under close arrest over allegations connected to the operations of the licensing and certifying office at Springlands Police Station quarantine. The Guyana Police Force says it has launched an investigation into the office's operations following the allegation. As part of the probe, ranks from the Special Organized Unit visited the office on Thursday, April 13, 2026, where relevant records and other documentations were secured for detailed examination. The police sergeant attached to the office was subsequently placed under close arrest and is assisting investigators with the ongoing probe. Investigators are conducting a comprehensive examination of the office's operations, including relevant records and transactions, as part of the investigation. The Guyana Police Force says it maintains a zero-tolerance approach to corruption, misconduct, and breaches of public trust, and that any rank found culpable of criminal or disciplinary wrongdoing will be dealt with in accordance with the laws and the force's disciplinary procedures. The investigation is ongoing, and the force said further information will be provided as it becomes available. Reporting for Capital News, I am Olinda Poole.
And in the region? Regionally, the Caribbean Media Corporation CMC reports that St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre held talks with his Trinidad and Tobago counterpart, Kamla Prasad-Besesar, providing an update regarding her challenge to the reappointment of CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett. In my capacity as chairman of CARICOM, I also provided an update on the matter of seeking an advisory opinion from the CARICOM Court of Justice CCJ concerning the appointment of the CARICOM Secretary General. Pierre wrote in a statement on his Facebook page, last month the Trinidad-based CCJ said it was not in receipt of any official request for an advisory opinion from CARICOM regarding the reappointment of Barnett. CARICOM leaders at their summit in St. Lucia last month had agreed to seek an advisory opinion from the CCJ after both Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica had written to them regarding the procedure used on reappointing Barnett, the first woman to ever hold the post of CARICOM Secretary General. While the court is not yet in receipt of any official request for an advisory opinion from CARICOM, it takes note of the information in the public domain that such a request may be forthcoming, the CCJ said. It said that given the public interest in this issue and in response to general questions already raised by the public, the court considers it helpful and in the public interest to indicate that a request for an advisory opinion does not involve either adversarial or contentious proceedings. In responding to a request for an advisory opinion, the court's remit is to entertain submissions from interested parties and furnish a legal opinion to answer the questions contained in the request. The CCJ said that within 14 days of receipt of a request for an advisory opinion, the registrar of the court shall serve copies of the request on all member states and the Secretary General of CARICOM. Any entity which has been served shall be entitled to make written submissions to the CCJ within 42 days of being served. It said, adding that in accordance with its internal procedures, an advisory opinion will ordinarily be issued no later than 6 months after the hearing. Prime Minister Pierre described the discussions with Prime Minister Prasad Bisesar as productive, saying they were aimed at strengthening the long-standing relationship between St. Lucia and Trinidad and Tobago and advancing our shared regional priorities. And that has brought us to the end of this edition of Capital News. On behalf of the news team, I'm Ivor Wharton, thanking you for staying with us, and do enjoy the rest of your evening.